All right, we're going to get started with the next
Now that
video.
we know that we need to help Casey with her physiological needs, let's see what options are out there for her. Some options are better than others, so let's learn about them all.
I pulled up some shelter options to review so that we could identify the best option for her and her situation. Take a few minutes to learn about the options.
All right, so as you can see, this is similar to other screens that we've had in the past where when you move your controller and kind of hover over each option, it'll highlight yellow. And then to select, you use that trigger button. So let's just start with, I'll just start with the bottom here, stay with a relative, and I'll select. And then it teaches pros and cons about each of these options. So staying with a relative, good stuff is that it's familiar folks. It's not scary. Cons are, she mentioned in the conversation with Jenna that, they're really far away. She'd be unable to access any other resources while there. And then we go through each of these. So the user would click them in any order that they'd like. They'd read the pros and cons for each of them and hit continue when they're done. And then once they've done all four, then it'll go to the next part of the quest. So here's the pros and cons of youth shelter. And that's the last one for us.
If you're ready, press the continue button, and I'll bring Casey back in so we can offer her some options.
Okay.
So, do you think you can help me?
I do have some options we can talk through together.
Okay, so now here is the prompt or the quest where we're trying to decide where should Casey stay. And this is another one of those situations where regardless of what the user chooses, they're going to be taught through why is this a good decision in this scenario? Why might it not be the best decision for Casey's specific case? So let me just click through some of these and we'll talk through them. Or I guess rather the narrator would talk through them.
Is there a relative you can stay with?
I mean, yes, but how am I supposed to get there? I don't have a car or anything, and they live in a small holler about 20 miles from here. Plus, once I get there, I won't be able to get back to look for a job or anything.
Not the best option. This will decrease self-determination and increase suspicion. This option leads to initial success, but would eventually lead her back to the same situation. Try a different response.
So as you can see, for each of these that aren't the best response for Casey, the interaction still plays out between Jenna and Casey, and then the narrator can talk through why it is or is not maybe the best option. So let's try stay with a friend.
Can you stay with a friend?
I want to go stay with my friend, but the last time I did, they kicked me out because they claimed I wasn't doing anything meaningful with my life. I already felt guilty about eating their food and not paying them back. I just don't think that's a good option.
Not the best option. This will decrease self-determination, increase suspicion, and put her needs for love and belonging at risk. Let's try a different approach.
Okay, so let's try homeless shelter.
What about a homeless shelter?
I hear that place is so full of people, there's hardly any room for me. Plus, I don't want to go there by myself with a bunch of adults.
Not the best option. Although she can get shelter here, this will decrease self-determination and add a safety risk. Casey prefers to be around people her own age. Let's try another option.
Okay, and so we've gone through all of those other options, which are valid options, and the user can see why they'd be valid options, but then we can talk through why they might be not the best option for this specific client's needs. So let's click on youth shelter and see what happens.
What about a youth shelter? They have resources there for you, such as food, a warm bed, and a case manager who can help find you housing and reconnect with your parents.
Will there be other kids there my age?
Most likely.
I guess I can try that. But you'll check on me, right? In case it doesn't work out?
Of course.
In Casey's situation, This is the best option. She can get her needs met for hygiene, clothing, shelter, and food here without risking her needs for safety and belonging. Nice work. Before you pick out your next prize, let me ask, did you notice how Casey's interests in certain shelter options changed based on her preferences, needs, and the environment around her? When a social worker takes all of these into consideration, it is called a person-in-environment approach. Select a prize from the 4-star case. Great choice. Now, let's head back to your office and say goodbye to Casey.
All right, I'll make a separate video for this one.
Look how